Hello and welcome to the Arcade Attic. In this series, we will talk about the newly released games, and we will review them for you. At the end, we will tell you that the game is worth it or not. Today, we're going to talk about The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, the enhanced version of one of the best games of the last generation. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is a PS5 exclusive that offers improved graphics, performance, and features. Give us your thoughts and opinions about The Last of Us in the comments. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is a stunning and powerful game that delivers a gripping story, dynamic combat, and breathtaking visuals. It is a worthy successor to the original game, which was already a masterpiece of storytelling and gameplay. The remastered version adds some minor enhancements to the graphics and performance, as well as a wealth of new content that expands and enriches the experience. The story of The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered follows Ellie and Abby, two survivors of a post-apocalyptic world ravaged by a fungal infection that turns humans into zombie-like creatures called the Infected. Ellie and Abby have a personal vendetta against each other, stemming from a tragic event that links their fates. The game explores the themes of revenge, violence, trauma, and redemption, as the characters face the consequences of their actions and the moral dilemmas of their choices. The story is told from multiple perspectives, switching between Ellie and Abby at different points in the timeline. This allows the player to empathize with both sides of the conflict and to understand the motivations and emotions of each character. The gameplay of The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is a mix of stealth, action, and exploration. The player can use various weapons, tools, and abilities to fight against the infected and human enemies, such as the militaristic WLF and the religious cult Seraphites. The combat is tense and brutal, requiring the player to be strategic and resourceful. The game also features some puzzle solving and platforming elements, as the player navigates the detailed and immersive environments. The game offers a high level of challenge and customization, with several difficulty modes, accessibility options, and gameplay modifiers. The graphics and performance of The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered are impressive, especially on the PS5. The game runs at either 4K resolution at 30 frames per second or 1440p resolution at 60 frames per second, depending on the player's preference. The game also supports ray tracing, HDR, and 3D audio, enhancing the realism and immersion of the game world. The game also makes use of the DualSense controller, providing haptic feedback and adaptive triggers that vary depending on the weapon and situation. The game looks and feels amazing, and is a showcase of the PS5's capabilities. The new content of The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is the icing on the cake, adding more value and replayability to the game. The game includes a new mode called No Return, which is a roguelike survival mode that pits the player against waves of enemies in randomly generated stages. The mode is challenging and addictive, and offers a different gameplay experience from the main story. The game also includes some cut content, such as a playable flashback sequence and a boss fight, as well as audio commentary from the developers, concept art, and behind-the-scenes videos. The game also features a guitar mode, which lets the player strum Joel's guitar using the touchpad, and a photo mode, which lets the player capture and share their favorite moments from the game. The graphics and performance of the remastered version are improved, with options to choose between 4K resolution at 30 frames per second or 1440p resolution at 60 frames per second. The game also supports ray tracing, HDR, and 3D audio, as well as haptic feedback and adaptive triggers on the DualSense controller. The remastered version has a new mode called No Return, which is a roguelike survival mode that challenges the player to fight against waves of enemies in randomly generated stages. The mode has 10 different playable characters, each with their own abilities and traits, as well as boss fights, gameplay modifiers, and unlockable skins. The remastered version also has some cut content, such as a playable flashback sequence and a boss fight that were not included in the original game. The game also has audio commentary from the developers, concept art, and behind-the-scenes videos that reveal more about the game's development process. The remastered version has a guitar mode, which lets the player strum Joel's guitar using the touchpad, and a photo mode, which lets the player capture and share their favorite moments from the game. The game also has a speedrun mode, which lets the player track their play time and compete with others. The remastered version has some new accessibility features, such as speech to vibrations, descriptive audio, and cinematic descriptions, that make the game more accessible to a wider range of players. Some of the notable voice actors in the game are Ashley Johnson as Ellie, the main protagonist of the game. She is a 19-year-old survivor who is immune to the infection and has a complicated relationship with Joel, her father figure. Ashley Johnson also voiced Ellie in the first game and the DLC Left Behind. Troy Baker as Joel, the deuteragonist of the game. He is a smuggler who became Ellie's guardian after the events of the first game. He has a dark past and a strained bond with his brother Tommy. Troy Baker also voiced Joel in the first game and the DLC Left Behind. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is a must-play game for PS5 owners, whether they are new to the franchise or returning fans. The game is a masterpiece of storytelling and gameplay, and the remastered version enhances and expands the experience. The game is emotionally engaging, visually stunning, and gameplay-wise satisfying. It is one of the best games of the generation, and a testament to the talent and vision of Naughty Dog. And at the end, yes, it is worth it. Thanks for joining us on the Arcade Attic. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more. Your support means the world to us. Until next time, stay awesome, and we'll catch you in the next video.